Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. We are back for another episode of our Patreon campaign. This one is called The Rise. We are firmly years into this campaign. This is episode 39. This is the tail end of the third arc, I believe third arc, of our campaign. I write the number down every episode, and then sometimes it just hits me that I'm like, oh yeah, 39 months or more is how long we've been playing this. And I'm like, that is that is over 3 years of us playing this campaign. Which is crazy. It's crazy when you think about the number of episodes equals the number of months you've played. Wild time. But if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel like these fine folks, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon link in the description down below. While you're down there, click on that Discord link, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation, talk about all the fun shows we do, including this one, in its own special little chat. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of terrible things to you guys. Maybe I'll do something nice. Who knows? Probably not. But the threat of nicety is there. It could happen. It could happen. Really what it is I do the most dramatic thing for that moment. And usually it's negative. And two, every dollar that goes into that bar goes back to this channel for all things like art, cool overlays, and other fun things, and sound effects, and a mortgage. You know, though just the basics. That being said, let's jump right in. Previously on The Rise, the war of scale and bone comes to a close, and both sides lick their wounds. The Chryserians are on a long march back through the Krakens, and the Somorans safely at home. The fledgling gods help the city heal, assisting with the cleanup and repair, all while getting their affairs in order for a world now profoundly changed by their presence. In the midst of Seydlitz's preparations for his departure to the deeps, Mina receives a prayer calling for aid, and with the help of Korax, identifies the location as the Third Deep. So, last we saw our heroes, you had a very interesting little bit of time inside the familial business of one Seydlitz, and had a very nice conversation, and then a very disapproving conversation with Seydlitz's mother. All of that culminated in an agreement that the four of you shall be traveling to the deeps, along with Seydlitz's caravan that he's already hired and sent out to Tanabar Holdfast. So, the last thing we discussed was everyone bedding down for the night because Seydlitz had an early start the next morning. So that's where we'll pick up. Go around the table and tell me what your night looked like as you wake up for the next day. We'll start with the ever-sleepful Korax. Korax, you have been researching the holdfasts. You also recently had a dull headache in the back of your head as new prophecies were written in the Book of Prophecies. How's your night been going, buddy?
Korax does not take Antares' advice, and he spends the entire time in the library. He reads through the Book of Prophecies and understands what has changed. He will be taking that book with him. But he also copies down anything he can find on the steps of the Colossi. So any books he finds on that, he documents it to have his own copy so that he doesn't have to steal books, because that's not what Korax does.
What?
Terrifying.
No
Okay.
one's ever seen him steal a book, just saying.
It's true.
That is factually inaccurate.
Who's seen him steal a book?
We didn't see him steal a book from the King of Nod, but he just
the people in
appeared
Corso that you're running from, as per your backstory.
Well, don't worry about them.
Yeah,
he
okay.
we didn't see him steal a book from the King of Nod. He just appeared in the cave saying, "I stole a book."
Yeah. To be fair, he didn't steal it. He just
He
opened
read
it,
it.
and that was his.
Exactly.
That one kills you. He opened the book that kills you when you open it. But the core essence
Fair
of
enough.
the start of his backstory is I got in trouble for stealing a book, and now I had to leave my free ride. So, no one on this screen has seen you steal a book. How about that?
That'll do.
Okay, where do you spend the
Outstanding
night? In the Royal Library or in your new fledgling library?
Well, he's copying down information from books in the Royal Library. His one won't have any info on this, so he's going to be in there documenting from there.
Okay. What does Antares' night look like?
Hmm. I think after she goes, she says goodnight to Seydlitz's family and the boys. I don't know. I think she might just like kind of go for a walk around the city and just kind of take everything in and just enjoy the evening. Uh, contemplate on the idea that she's going to be leaving the city for an indeterminate amount of time and how she actually feels about it. And eventually she just makes it back to her house, lets herself in. She might make herself some tea and yeah. Is she gonna stew a little bit? Maybe mope? I don't know. Maybe she's walking to her bedroom and she sees that door jam that has all the kids' heights recorded on it. And that kind of makes her stop. And yeah, I think she's gonna sit in her window and just gaze into the night. Very mysterious like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you zoning into the middle distance and actively trying not to think of something, or are you in fact stewing?
Um I think she's well, I don't think she's stewing in the sense that she's like grumpy and mopey or stuff like that. I think she's thinking about leaving and she definitely wants to help Seydlitz and help Mina, but the thought of actually leaving is not something that's exciting her. So,
Interesting. Let's
yeah.
sit with that for a second.
Okay.
Why is it not?
Um I think she's thinking about it too, like why aren't I so excited to like get up and go, right? But I think she finally realizes that she has this place, even though she's by herself and it's pretty lonely. It's like she has a place that's hers now that she never had before. And I think it's the fact of where they're going and the fact that they might not come back. And I think that's what's scaring her a little bit.
That's fair. That's very
Yeah.
fair. Okay. Okay, cool. I'll torture you with that later. So you sit there with whatever comfort items you can get in your house, right? It's a brand new house. You've barely had time to go shopping
Yeah.
for. Well, I mean, on the bright side to it having been someone else's house is there's already things in it. So.
Oh god. It's like people's. I didn't even think about that. There's like people's clothes.
Yeah. They're cutlery and plates. So you have a chipped cup, and you're sipping some tea out of that as you sort of calm the nerves. And we see the camera sort of follows your eye line out of the window and into the darkness of the city, where we find Mina. Mina, what does your night look like? You had a very nerve-wracking couple of days. You had to ask Korax for a favor, and then you had to ask Antares for a favor, and then you had to ask Seydlitz for a favor. All of those things were terrible for you.
I think that continues where he heads back to the barracks and forgetting that he's actually in charge of the barracks, goes to the quartermaster to sort of like make sure his gear's as up to date as possible, and if there's anything extra special he needs for the depths. And sheepishly asking, as you do ask for the queue, you always ask for things sheepishly, because chances are you're not going to get it. But he forgets he's running this company now, so whatever he needs, he gets, which he's very, very surprised by.
I think to add to the surprise is you ask as like a child scorned, right? Like very, please, sir, can I have some more?
Yeah.
And the person responds with the authority that you have, and so it's a sheep off, as it were, as you're like, excuse me, could I please have the key? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought we had made a special key for you. Here, take mine. And so there's a sheep on and off as they're trying to make sure that they think that you asking them, they're at fault because you don't already have the information, and they're getting flustered, which flusters you some more. Several Canadian apologies back and forth, as everyone is sorry before you're able to head to bed. This is where G turns off her camera and leaves the show. And last but not least, we travel across to what I can only imagine is a much simpler scene with Seydlitz. What does your night look like? Potentially your last night here in Samora.
You see, Seydlitz is tuning his new crossbow by the bedside lantern, just thinking about what his mother said, trying to basically resolve himself to the fact that yes, he is doing this, but he really should have, done it better.
Okay. So we'll say at this point there has been, the appropriate hemming and hawing as your mother fusses over you and passive aggressively tries to convince you not to go while also helping you pack. And eventually the family goes to bed, right? Your sister returns to bed, the children are put to bed, and your mother is the last one to finally say goodnight. And you are left alone with a bag of goods, a fully restrung crossbow, all the things you would need to set off on a journey. You know that your caravan is prepared to leave and meet you at Tunabar Holdfast, or Tanabar Holdfast. And you know that the conscription for the Jund caravan guards has also been sent over there, and they will be the ones detaching a retinue to guard your caravan. You've only just gotten back here after, for the last few weeks, rather. You had been off on a journey, of self, headed south to Corso, and now you are headed to the deeps, the place that claimed the life of your father, the place that changed the face of your family. And your family fears that for you as well. An apt fear, some would say. But you are resolved to go. You check the straps, you check the contents of your bag once again, in case something should happen you to spring up in the middle of the night. Everything is prepared before you rest. Quite calmly. The next day comes. I'll say you all meet. Where would you like to all meet? Where's your predestined meeting place? The Seydlitz estate, could be at the Jund Caravan Guard, could be at the castle. Could be at Antares' new house.
Okay, so just to clarify, we are leaving, like, imminently, like, right now?
I believe that was the plan.
Yeah, I thought we had, like, a couple days at least.
I thought the plan was we were going to leave with Mina because he wanted to go somewhere, and then we would head to Tunnel Bar.
I believe that was the plan.
Yeah, I think
that's why
we were discussing going to Dawnfall first.
So I guess it sounds like there is not a firm plan of time or direction as of yet. So where do you guys meet to discuss?
I assume everyone meets at the library because Corax isn't great with time and just spends too much time reading, and eventually everyone has to go looking for him.
That checks out.
Yeah, that's what I think. Is we all meet somewhere else, and there's like, "Where's Corax?" It's like, we got to go drag him out of the library, don't we?
And
Well,
I feel like the library has become like the staff has become sympathetic, given that like not only are you one of the successful generals, but also divine. And so like despite wherever we find Korax, there is a small like as luxurious a cot bed as can be made, that is there with like thick blankets and plush pillows. It looks completely untouched, I imagine. And anyone who frequents the library will see that the cot is moved to whatever location Korax is in when you find him asleep on a desk. So if he is in one location one time in a different location, someone has come in and moved it to the new location in hopes that he just gets into it one day. So you see Korax, a plush cot bed behind him, at a table full of books.
And Terry's is not there. She's gonna be late.
Okay, what is everyone else doing?
Seydlitz walks up and knocks on the desk. Corax, are you awake?
I'm awake now. We've still got hours. It's early. And he looks up to see that it's light. Maybe not as early as I thought. I'll get my things. And he starts just patting things down and starts scratching, looking for bits that he was supposed to pack the night before.
Have you not been sleeping again?
I did. You woke me up, so definitely slept.
Yeah, he was sleeping.
See, Mina noticed.
Oh, if we had someone who knew a sleep spell to cast on him.
Unless he's divine enough now that he can just rest his head on a book and absorb the information.
I mean, he's hoping.
That's his next level up.
Telekinetic
knowledge
custom domain ability for Corax only.
Yeah, he scrats. He starts grabbing anything that he was supposed to pack and just gets himself ready. Regardless of whether they were supposed to leave, he has no idea at what point they are in the leaving process, so he just starts packing.
Yeah, you could be late for leaving, or it could be in a day from now, or it could have been yesterday. Time is a circle for Korax.
Where he is in his current state, yeah, everything is.
Yeah, time exists in and out of a vacuum, but when you're in and out of books from ages past and you know, tales of yore, it's difficult to determine where you are in the span of time. As we see Korax, basically the opposite of Seydlitz, right? Just sort of, this is like how my girlfriend and I pack. I have everything neat and organized and rolled up, like I'm in the military, and she just sort of crams everything into a bag. I imagine that's what Korax is doing. The only thing neat are the books. Which, like, it's just clothing and miscellaneous papers crammed in, and then the books are a neat pile placed on top and just sort of pushed down to like an overstuffed garbage can.
Single sock in one pocket,
yeah.
the other sock in a different pocket.
Yeah. 100%. Actually, just one sock. He just hopes for the best. As we see this frenzied packing, where do we find Antares?
Since it's early in the morning, she is going to go to find Stephanie.
I had an image in my head just now of Antares, because we're used to scary Terrys, but now you have a house and a dress, just one, and all I could think of is that scene from
She's got lots that came with the house.
That's true.
But okay, to be fair, she would have spent that week like she's not getting rid of the people's belongings, but things would be like packed up and like put aside, like put
Right,
into
of
storage,
course, of
essentially. Yeah.
All I can think of is that scene from Shrek, when Fiona is like singing in the forest and then the bird explodes and then she like cooks the eggs. It's like we have Antares with this princess wake up where like the birds are there. She's like, get out of here, you fucking birds. Get out of here. Get out of my house. How'd you get in here, birds?
So you guys are fucking pests. Get out of here.
Rats with wings. Get out of here. So Antares, you roam the halls looking for, you said Stephanie?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not difficult to find. You can talk to one of any dozen or so scullery maids, and they will point you in her direction. Obviously, she is at work in the castle, but she is. I'll say she is clearing out a council room. Ornate room, small like mahogany library, 4 chairs around an ovular table, plush red carpets, and sort of tapestries hang the wall, sort of a meeting room for like traveling dignitaries or the like. And she is currently tidying this room up as you are directed to that room, she being the only person in here.
Well, I think she would just, as she steps into the room, like she glances, sees her, and then knocks on the door, like the open door, as she steps in.
You see her immediately, like, sort of stand up, and like pivot on her heel, and looks very like formal as she's standing there. And then as soon as she sees you, there's a little bit of relaxation as she like you see her body kind of slacken, and she looks to you and she says, "Oh, good morning."
Morning. And she smiles and kind of makes her way over.
I didn't expect to see you today.
Yeah. Some things have come up, and she can see like she's in like traveling clothes and like has a pack on her back and stuff like that, and her sword strapped to her hip. Some things have come up, and looks like we're gonna be, me and the boys are gonna be stepping out of the city for a time. And she comes over.
Oh, I'm not sure why, but I had assumed that you would be staying in the city, long term.
Yeah, well, I knew we were gonna be venturing out for some things. I just didn't think it'd be this fast. Mina has, well, long story short, I think he's heard someone praying for his help, so he is dead set on going to help these people, or whoever they are. And Seydlitz is on a mission to find out what happened to his father. So we're going to the deeps, and I don't know how long it's going to be till we get back. And yeah, and actually, and she's kind of she's kind of stammering, and she's like, actually, and that brings me to another point. She reaches into her pocket and she pulls out like a key, like those old style like skeleton type keys. Wondering if you could do me a favor.
Of course. Yes.
And then she hands her the key. Like, that's the key to the house I'm staying in. And would you stay there for me while I'm away? Make sure it doesn't burn down.
Yes. I mean, we have a room here, but if you need us to watch your home, we absolutely can.
and I can tell I'm gonna get 2 of my guards or my knights to they'll escort you back here every day, and they'll make sure you and Arua are safe, and they will keep an eye on you so you're not traversing through the city on your own.
Oh, it's safe enough in the city. I don't think you shouldn't have to trouble your knights with that. It's a trivial task.
Well, they do whatever I tell them to do.
Oh, Must be very nice to have that.
Sometimes. Well, if I guess if they didn't like it, they're not gonna tell me otherwise. But yeah.
That would have
But,
been useful all those months ago, huh?
yeah. Well, at least I'm nicer to them now than I used to be. So at least if they're not doing it out of thinking I'm gonna kill them or something. But you know how it is.
Oh,
Well, maybe you don't, but yeah.
yes. No, I can understand what you. Anyway, and she like takes the key. I will make sure everything is cleaned and in tip-top shape.
You don't have to clean it. Like you're not working. You just live, and you could drink tea and make food. And I left something on the rooftop. There's a little rooftop balcony for Arua, and I left something for her up there that she could hopefully have some fun with. So yeah, and then I don't know, you could like read a book, go shopping,
Oh, okay. All of that sounds great. I would be happy to watch your house for you, and accept your guards if that's necessary. And everything will be ready for you as soon as you come back. And then the house is obviously all yours because it is yours. And then I'll come back here, and then everything will be normal.
Yes. Well,
Great.
while I'm away for however long it is, please consider it your house, and you can do with it whatever you want. Oh, I do have a couple plants that I bought that you might need to water, apparently.
Yes, you need to water plants.
Yeah, I didn't have to do that back in Corso. But yeah, we have to water them every once in a while.
Yes, I will handle all the watering, and the house will be in the same condition you left it in.
Great. Great. Well, I don't want to keep you from your very exciting work here. So
Yes. And she like looks around the council room. Never a dull moment here. Anyway, and she like tucks the key in and sort of like pats.
And she
pats the
leans
pocket.
down and like picks up like a loose like hair that's on the table and like flips it onto the floor.
Oh, and you see her like tuck a piece behind her ear. As you're cleaning, it's fine. I'll get it. I do a second pass through. It's fine. Okay. And she like looks at you for a second, and you can tell that there's like an internal struggle happening.
Mm-hmm.
And she like looks at you, and there's a moment where she takes like a half step in your direction, but then also like but then like also you can see like she realizes her station and how things have changed in this place, and she sort of like there's like a weird like when you kind of go in for a hug handshake, right? Except she like goes to step forward and then sort of like turns it into an awkward curtsy, and then looks back at you, not sure how to exit this.
Does she curtsy?
Oh yeah.
Okay, God. If she does that, and Terry's will then she'll step forward and she will give her a hug.
You hear like next to your ear, oh thank God, I wasn't sure what to do, because like I've known you, and then now and then you're
Oh Lord,
okay.
Please do not don't curtsy.
Good luck on your journey.
Yeah, and then
everything works
she'll
out.
hug her a little tighter, and then she probably lingers a little too long, and then we'll let go.
Awkward flirting. So you head out of the room. And...
Sad flirting, because now she's like, now I have to go away.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
So you head out of the room. Are you headed straight for the library, or are you headed somewhere else? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'll say in the amount of time that took, you head back towards the library, and Korax has what essentially is like a hobo haversack, just like over his shoulder, stuffed full of things, and oddly square shaped in places. You see a lot of jutting triangles coming out of it. As Seydlitz looks on disapprovingly, and Mina looks on with the that seems right face. The four of you reconvene at the edge of the library.
Yeah, she walks up from another area of the castle or the keep, and she's got her bag on and her traveling clothes. We ready to go?
Yeah, Corax was totally sleeping.
Yep. I slept well. I got all my stuff, I think. I hope.
Let's hope so. Well, maybe if we miss something, you could pick it up in Dawn's Fall.
Wait, what?
What?
Hmm?
She looks at
We're-
Mina.
I thought we were going to the deeps.
We are, but we're making Dawn's Fall stop first. Sailor's turds looking at Mina.
Yeah, well, just thought it would be helpful to stop along the way and just, pop in, say hello and see how things are and make sure everyone's not dead.
Mike, question. Dawn's
Yes?
Fall's not on the way, is it?
Well,
It is if you head that way.
If you make it
Yeah.
on the way. But it's not like in the path of the direction we're going.
so like if you were to draw a line from Samora to Tanabar Holdfast, a straight line, like the shortest path, no, it is not on the way. However, Tanabar Holdfast is in the east, and it's in the RuneScape, and Dawnsfall is generally more east than Samora, and is also in the RuneScape. So,
Did you guys make up Dawn's Fall?
yeah.
Okay, so it's not on the map.
No.
Okay.
So both of them are generally east and also in the RuneScape. So, you know.
Remember how Psycho Sister here said that Dawn's Fall was destroyed and it was all Mina's fault? Let's go find out.
Korax just looks at her.
She just looks back.
Just what we all want to go and do. See our destroyed homes. All right.
Do we know that that's also where Korax is from?
No, I don't think we do.
I don't think Korax has said it to the group publicly.
I honestly can't remember.
I think he said it to Mina. I think
Yeah.
Mina knows.
I think Mina knows.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
because
probably
Mina
forgot.
gave him the thread from the needle that he got made up with the conversation with Raya.
Yes.
Mm. It's like, well, if Mina's home is not destroyed, we have to be there to support him, right?
Mina's not from Dawnsfall.
No, I was just staying there. Corax is from Dawnsfall.
What? She looks.
Yes.
You are?
He
And
nods
she turns
slowly.
back to Mina. So what was all that stuff about you destroying Dawn's Fall?
I
Apparently.
was staying there with family friend, and then stuff happened. People died. Then I left. But then apparently sometime after that, everyone there was killed, including probably Corax's family, but only if they were there at the time.
Okay. Well, now I look like an asshole.
So if there's nothing there, why are we going there again?
To see if something is there or not. Mina.
Well,
I mean, Araya has been known to tell a tall tale. She could have just been exaggerating. Maybe not everyone's dead.
or no one's dead. Korax turns and walks towards the shelves and grabs the biggest book he can. Just some random big book.
You gonna
Chucks
hit
it
him
under
over
his
the head
arm.
with that?
No, it's better than thinking about it. I'll sit there and read on the way.
Are we walking?
You don't really walk and read. I'm
Corax
assuming
grabs
we're
I
not
just
walking, are we?
imagine Corax grabs a book without reading it. It's the most boring possible book he could have grabbed.
Probably. He doesn't look at the title. He just grabs a big book.
On
Sticks it under his arm.
walking. What's the
The joys of walking.
Joys of walking. I love that for him.
1001 Pathways of the Afterworld.
Yeah.
That was funnier than it had any right to be.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm mad
true.
about it. Oh shit. That is a good question. Are you walking? Obviously the caravan is set to leave and head straight towards Tanabar Holdfast.
And so, okay, so how far is the walk then? Or walk or ride?
It would be it's probably about a week to Tanabar Holdfast.
Okay.
And so probably about the same to Donsfall.
Is that by walking or by riding?
By walking. So the
Okay.
caravan moves at a walking pace because there are guards walking outside of it.
Yeah.
So if you were on horseback, you probably cut a few days off of it, so it would go down from 7 to 5 days.
Okay, well, let's take horses then. Sound good with you guys?
Do we have horses?
Sure.
You're
Okay.
generals
I knew I
of the
should.
city of Samora. You can just commission them.
Yeah.
I knew I should have taken divine conveyance. Kidding.
Yeah. I was like, I don't need a fucking mount.
A mount? That's not useful.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, we will head to the stables then.
Yeah, I'll say with the quartermaster inside the castle can easily procure horses for you, as long as everything that you're bringing for provisions can fit in either backpacks or saddlebags. Which, if it can't, you can always toss it onto the caravan that will be leaving at some point in the day and headed towards Tanabar Holdfast.
Yeah, because that's.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say because G doesn't know what we're gonna need when we're splunking in the deep, so I'm not sure how exactly to prepare Antares for things she's gonna need. So like I have like an adventurer's pack, you know. It's like I don't want to have to start itemizing every little thing that I have. So
You have stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Within reason.
everything you have that you traveled from Corso to here with can fit in saddlebags. You're fine.
Okay.
I assume
And
that's
for
what
the-
you don't have like 17 weapons on you.
Yeah.
And for the spelunking, Chris and Corax are both assuming that because Seydlitz knows what the hell he's doing, we don't have to worry about gear. That's all.
Probably
magically
on the
handled.
caravan.
Yeah.
You know, think bedrolls, lots of rope, torches, rations, spikes for climbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corax, the book you have is called Chronicles of the Infinite Realms, a comprehensive history of the known and unknown worlds. And it is entirely theorycraft about the world of the Afterworld, the world of Elanehtar, the gods that fell, the world that came before, Nod, the Nightlands. It is entirely theorycraft by people who never left an office. So it's the perfect
Sounds like
book
it's
for
gonna be in trouble.
Corax. Yeah, it's the perfect.
That's Corax's people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is all. It's entirely a book of third-party hearsay, based on people who think they saw something, came back and gave reports to people who never left their office, and then they interpreted that and wrote it in a book and said, this is probably what happened. And everything sounds as plausible as it sounds unplausible. So take each page with a grain of salt.
That's
Totally
perfect.
not.
Yeah. It is
But
the
I'm
largest.
assuming they've written it as if it's real. Like,
Oh,
this
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's written by like 7 or 8 different authors, and the next author contradicts the previous author, and so on and so forth. So the entire book is contradictive to itself, and its factualness is dubious at best. Yeah. So.
Perfect.
So I imagine that someone like ties a rope to the leads of Korax's horse, so that like Mina and Terry's and Seydlitz, you're actively like riding a horse, and the bridle just keeps getting tugged on Korax's horse as he's sat there reading this tome, which is easily like one of those books that's like 1.5 feet wide, and you open it up and it's just this huge like archaic nonsense.
He's the god of knowledge, at least.
I've just imagined that it's
the
just
book
the
floats.
Yeah.
what is that big, the Britannica?
Oh, the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's as big as that.
Yeah. So is there anything you would like to do before you leave the city? Other than get horses, obviously.
I think she would also oh yeah, sorry. She will leave a message with to send to
Leave a
Mr.
message after the
Captain-
beep.
Yeah, leave a message with Captain Hargens. Let me bring up my name of my trusty reconciliators. She's assigning 2 reconciliators to escort, not reconciliators, redemption knights to escort Stephanie and Arua daily to and from the house back to keep and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so she's assigning 2 people to do that. That's item number 1.
What are their names?
Oh, I'm gonna assign Aja and Victra to help them, to escort them. Two women. Item number 1, Aja and Victra are to this is their new assignment. Item number 2, ditch the armor. It's bad luck, giant red flag. Right? And item number 3, send message to Dreshen and the Adherence Temple that we are leaving for the depths. Item number 4, we are leaving for the depths.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Send a message.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else have any final things to do before they leave the city?
I think Mina sees Antares writing this note out of instructions and realizes he probably should tell someone at the Jun Caravan Company that he's going as well.
I'm so glad I'm rubbing off.
Seydlitz is just standing at the gate, being like, "All right, let's go." Wait, I forgot something.
I imagine there's like a piece of paper sticking out of Korax's bag, and Mina just like leans over and takes it and just scribbles down, "Going to Deeps / Mina." and then hands that off to somebody.
Yeah.
No plan, no second in charge, no just
If I
perfect.
die, leave it over here.
Yeah. You're doing great.
I mean, isn't the Jun caravan potentially taking our caravan?
Not everyone that goes, but yeah, there is a guard, a squad is headed down there. Cool. Korax, Seydlitz, do you have any final departing wishes?
Korax is going to visit his library and make sure everything is in order. Any books that he had written down or copied, he places on the shelves. But that's all he's doing.
Seydlitz wished his family goodbye that morning, so
Okay.
he's good.
Okay. Perfect. The 4 of you, well, the 5 of you. So the 4 of you, accompanied by Raiden. Head out of the north gate of Samora, into the ruinscape. Now, this isn't your first foray out here. You once traveled north along the river to, stop some evil alchemical nonsense from happening here. But you traverse this path, and for Seydlitz, you've been out in the runescape your whole life. This is the hunting grounds you were trained in, and Terry's far more rare for you. This is your second foray into the runescape. So everything is new, sights and sounds. This land is completely bathed in sunlight, right? Samora marked that midline of where the shadow of Nod ended. So there is a full day-night cycle here. So you are sort of plunged into the brightness of the world. You see nature at its fullest, very different nature than what looks like the treeless, the sunless nightlands. You're used to seeing these makeshift, like solar orchards where there are these objects that are set alight in the sky, providing enough light to be able to grow things in the nightlands, so they don't have to rely on the runescape. You see small like homesteads. You see small farmland out here. You see people unburdened by life in the Nightlands, right? You see people going about their regular lives, not in fear of someone coming and raiding their home, or someone getting some sort of admittance from the dragon to just pillage. Everyone, they are burdened by the normalcy of life, which in itself is a little strange for Antares, right? And you sort of just take it all in. There are birds in the sky's blue, grass is green, trees are everywhere, animals abound. Korax and Mina, I can imagine there's a little bit of a silence here, and whether that is from Korax reading or pretending to read. Mina, you are returning to a place you haven't been in quite some time, under the assumption that something you have done caused the ruination of an entire hamlet. Something you did allegedly resulted in the deaths of an entire town. A town in which you know that a friend of yours is from and had family in. So I assume there is a level of sobriety in your trudge as you lead the way, essentially, back to this place. And Korax, similarly, you also left under interesting pretenses. And you had really little intention of ever having to go back here. Less so now that it is apparently destroyed. There's even less to keep you going back here. So try as you might to focus on this book of absolute truth. You occasionally will look up and you'll see, it's been years, but you'll see familiar pathways, or like a familiar gnarled old oak tree, right? That you know the path from Samora to Dawnsfall, and try as you might, you'll still pick out landmarks on this journey northward. Yeah, very interesting. Okay.
I'm thinking Terry's would probably within like the first couple hours, and after like Samora is out of sight and they're into the heartlands of the RuneScape, and Terry's would sidle up next to Korax, and she'd be like, "So, how long has it been since you've been home?"
About a year, maybe more. How long have I been with you lot?
6 months-ish?
It's been over a year. Didn't really intend to come back.
Why not? What did you do?
Well,
What
I
did
didn't
they
do anything.
Well, why wouldn't you want to go home?
When your
You live
home is
in a
boring,
you
why
live in a
would you wanna
place
be-
like this.
years.
3 years ago?
years.
Okay.
You left in 39 after 39 Afterfall. So you left 3 years ago, and Mina came there 2 years ago.
Okay, so were they horrible people? Like,
No, not at all.
so why wouldn't you want to go home? You live in the sunshine. Look, you see that bird? That bird is chirping happily. Why wouldn't you want to live in a place like that?
Corax laughs. I mean, when you look around, what do you see that's exciting and new and teaches you things and you learn about things that's more than the tiny little world around you? There's nothing
Well,
here in Thurs. There's birds and there's sunshine and there's creatures in the ground and there's creatures in the ground. Like yeah, that's all great, but
we have people like she nods towards his book. Don't tell me you don't have a plethora of books about this whole area, about the RuneScape. And just because you
not
leave
out
doesn't
here.
mean you're never gonna go back. Like, you have family there.
Well, yeah, but when you're the forgotten child, like what?
Why do they forget about you? And I'm totally aware that she's asking all of these really blunt questions. Why are you the
He
forgotten child?
he tilts his head. How many siblings do you have?
2
Okay. Are you
sibling.
the well, yeah. Are you the oldest, the youngest, the middle child?
Technically, I'm the middle.
He
Actually, I don't
smiles.
know if I'm the youngest or the old. I assumed I was the middle, but I don't know if Rastaban and Eltanen were older than me or not.
Yeah, we'll have me be the middle.
Okay, I'm the middle.
Korak smiles. The middle child's the forgotten child. 2 older brothers,
Oh.
2 younger sisters.
What are their names?
Chris looks blank. I don't think I ever named them.
Jesus Christ.
I also
This is
don't
why
think you
you
named
immediately.
them.
I don't. I
Quick,
really and
think
truly
of
don't remember.
something.
I named all 35 of my reconciliators, Chris. Come on. No, you can say names. These are their names. A, B, C, D.
Insert names here.
Yeah. It's like, but okay, like,
Look,
my siblings are psychopaths. Okay.
am I not boring? Look,
How
we
boring is
work in a
boring?
small town. There's nothing that happens. You deal with the occasional raid from things out in the RuneScape, but other than that, not much happens. You deal with life on a farm and life out in the woods, and I don't get to do that because that's what the older brothers do. So I sit around and look after my younger sisters. And then I learned that I could do cool things with magic, and I wanted to learn more. And you're kind of a problem when you live out in a little town in the middle of nowhere and you can do things that the average person can't do. You bring problems on a town. And he looks up at Mina. When you can do these different things. So you can stay and learn nothing about the world and potentially bring problems to your town, or you can go away and learn things and get better at the abilities that you found.
She regards him dubiously. But she nods a little bit. Okay, I understand. So they know you're on good terms with your family, that you said goodbye, and aren't they going to be upset that you don't come visit? Or did they ever come to visit you now that you're in Samora and you're a god?
They didn't know where I really went. So Talbin came to town, and he's a guy who had lots of books and lots of information and said he could help me learn more about what I can do. And they were like, great, go with him. So I got on his cart and we left. Never really planned to go back. We never left on bad terms, really. Well, at least I don't think
All
they
right.
were.
So how do you feel that we're going back?
Kind of goes away from everything I was looking for in my life. And he closes the book and he holds it up slightly. He says, things like this don't exist in Dawnsfall. If I stayed, I would never have this. It's not mine, but I get to read it. I get to learn the knowledge that someone put in here. And he like pats his saddlebags. This knowledge didn't exist, and I would never know it if I stayed. Going back there, I'm not going to learn anything that's going to help the world move forward. If anything, it's going to set me back.
She nods, but then she looks up at him and is like, but what about helping yourself? Sure, you want to help the world, but you have to do self-care.
And running into a potential scene where my home and family are all dead is helping me?
Well, you're into the truth, aren't you? If that's what actually happened, it's something that needs to be dealt with.
He
Especially,
smiles and pats the book in front of him. Says, there's truth and knowledge. They're not always the same thing. This book is knowledge, but it's also nonsense. If you'd like to read a few pages, it's nonsense, but it's
no, I'm
knowledge.
good. I'm good. I guess I just don't understand, but I'm trying to understand. But if something happened in your home, I think it's important for you to find out if it's still there.
Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be bad. But I don't know. There's other bigger things to worry about in the little world that is Korax. And he leans slightly towards Antares, like a person who in hell who wants to kill me and take my soul or make me kill other people. Make a promise.
True. And if your parents and family are there, let's not lead with that. Are you going to tell them about your new status in the world?
He looks up, probably to lord it over them. They sent me away and I became a god.
But you wanted to go, and now you're
I know.
bitter about it?
Oh no. But now I can be the favorite child, not the forgotten child.
Well, if you lord it over them in the way of Korax, you may not be the forgotten child anymore. You might be the resented child, or the resented brother.
Oh, I can be resented by my siblings as long as my parents know that I'm the greatest.
Okay.
Of all their children, I did the best.
Yeah, well, I guess becoming a god can't really be topped, so yeah.
I've been to Corso. I've been to Samora. People in Samora know my name. I walk through the streets and people say, "Hi, Korax." How many of my siblings can say that?
People say hi to you in the street?
Well, they could.
Do you say hi back?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so. Oh. And what about you? She says to Mina.
Mina is totally spacing out and kind of doesn't even acknowledge.
She will trot over and with her riding crop on his shoulder where he's got his armor, just to get his attention.
Oh, there's easier ways to get my attention. Just need to say my name. I hear it.
Right. Yes. So what about you, Mina?
What about me?
What are you gonna do when we get to Dawn's Fall?
Just check in on Auntie Tissa. Hope they don't drive me back out of town, and I don't know, profit.
Right. And what are you going to do if Rhea was right?
I hadn't hoped that was the case.
I also hope that she's a lying sack of shit who doesn't know what she is looking at.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess if they're all dead, then I'm free to go back to the town. No one's going to chase me out.
Okay. She's just
Free to go back to the town. What, you want a whole town to yourself, Mina? You hear Seydlitz just kind of say from the front.
No, the mayor told me to leave, so I don't know if I'm allowed back in town, but if the mayor's dead, then I can go back.
Say you go back now. What are the odds they actually even recognize you?
I don't know how much they hold a grudge. People, a lot apparently. But I mean, the mayor was. Do you forget the person that resulted in your child's death?
I'm gonna go with no. She says, like, she's speaking from some kind of gross personal experience.
That was my assumption too.
Oh, this is gonna be entertaining. And she's just gonna spur her horse, and she's gonna trot forward and just go ahead of the group.
You continue northward. Again, for everyone who has frequented these lands, nothing really comes as a surprise. But for Antares, who has not, something of note that you can focus on in lieu of your troubled companions. What you can only imagine to be hundreds of miles away. You see a impossibly large mountain to the northeast that has a slow plume of ash and smoke sort of billowing out from it. You've heard tell of this in Corso, right? It's in the books, history books, if you read them. It is a studied place. It is known as the Mouth of Winter. It is an incredibly old volcano. However, it has not erupted in quite some time, and it doesn't erupt like you would imagine a normal volcano. It erupts cold and not fiery hot magma. And to the west of the Mouth of Winter, the farther north you get, you begin to see the Cerulean Peaks, one of the greatest mysteries left to the Afterworld. These, according to bibliomancers, archivists, and especially the adherents, the Cerulean Peaks were once lifted from the ground by Xenia, the Earthshaker herself. But if the gods are dead, why have the Cerulean Peaks not plummeted back down to the planet? A question no one has been able to answer all this time. But you see massive floating islands that look as though they were torn out of the ground and just sort of tossed into the air. complete with like they're flat on top, but like they also have that like ripped out of the ground look on the bottom, just sort of floating in the sky. Vast distance of large floating islands. And you look around agape at all of this, and your companions seem completely nonplussed about this.
Yeah. Like
yeah.
she'd just be like, well, now there's something. And she's just like talking to herself.
Enjoying the view back there in Terry's?
Gotta say, definitely don't have shit like that where I come from.
Well, where you come from, you can't see 10 feet in front of you.
Touche. But yeah, that is a sight to see, that's for sure. How close are we gonna get to those? She points to the cerulean peaks.
Not even. We're heading east. Those are all the way up to the north.
Maybe one day I'll get up there, she says to herself.
You can get up there if you have a mount that can fly.
There is rumor that there's a tribes of Terran live up there. How they've gotten up there, blind as they are, no one knows. But they are tribes of Terran that seem to live in there. At least that's what rumors would have you believe. That and giant predatory birds that will eat you. One of those seems more likely than the other. You continue northeast for several days, taking ample time to rest at night, recover, feed and water the horses, bed down, small cook fire, and this set of traveling, or this length of travel for you is far different than your last set. The last time you were all traveling together here, despite how somber it seems, given your destination, the last time you traveled like this was fleeing Corso, running from place to place in fear of being tracked down by a legion of Knights of Redemption, or any number of horrible, tragic ends at the hand of the Dragon Nolemriel. Here, far more casual, albeit somber, as you can leisurely set up a fire. It doesn't have to be minimal and in a hole. You guys can enjoy what time you can out here, which seems to be mostly Antares being able to enjoy being out here, as Seydlitz is single-mindedly focused on getting this out of the way so that he can head back to the deeps. Korax is focused on avoiding all of this, and Mina is focused on the hopeful nature of what could be delusional thinking. So day melds into night, night into day, etc., etc. And you finally make it to where Mina and Korax, you recognize the outskirts. There's probably a league between where you are and where Dawnsfall is. You know you will approach there within the next few hours on horseback, at least at a slow canter. Is there anything, specifically the two of you, but also everyone else, is doing to prepare to enter Dawnsfall?
Mina pulls up short and he starts scanning the horizon, because there's a part of him that also thinks this might have been some sort of trap that Rhea was setting up for him as well. So he's looking out for any possible signs of a storm.
Okay, we'll get back to that. Korax?
All of these nights that they've traveled, Korax has avoided sleep as well. So he is incredibly tired, but he just keeps going. He notices that
Seydlitz would make it a point to try to take Korax's books away during the night to force him to sleep.
Oh, Korax would ignore him. So as soon as Seydlitz falls asleep, he picks up another book and he reads. He's
No.
ignoring everything.
Seydlitz would take those books and he'd walk into the woods with them and hide them somewhere.
He's also the god of knowledge, so the books would just instinctively come
Just
back
come
to
back.
him.
Well, Seydlitz
Cool,
doesn't
cool.
know that,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
You come back in the morning and the stack
You're
of books
muted,
is
Mike.
back.
I do like the
Yeah.
idea though that like Seydlitz waits for Korax to like nod off, then like quietly absconds and like hides them in like brush and shrubs, and then Korax wakes up and just walks right to them, like knowing where knowledge is, and just pulls them back out.
Yeah.
And that just happens every night.
They
Yeah.
probably yell at each other that first night. Because
Yeah,
doesn't want to walk.
Yeah, so when the day comes that they're starting to get into the town, Korax realizes where they are. He packs away whatever book he's got, which is probably this little big tome, and he just packs it into a saddlebag. Tries to sit up a little bit straighter, and just keeps riding towards the town. He doesn't stop or notice Mina looking for storms. He just keeps going.
Okay. Are Antares and Seydlitz doing anything? You would see, obviously, Mina like stop short.
No, I think she would stop next to Mina, and she would look at him. You all right?
Just scanning for signs of a trap.
And she looks around too. Well, the best way to find a trap is to spring it, and she will canter forward.
Don't know if that's true.
Not with that attitude.
You see Mina as you look out, and Terry, you see it too as Mina notices it, and shortly thereafter, everyone else sort of can, as long as you're looking out, can see this thing. You notice beyond where the village is, so further to the northeast than where you're going, Mina, you notice a violet tinged storm in the sky. You can see lightning in the clouds, and you can see like rolling thunder clouds. Without need for any kind of roll, Mina and Korax, you know with 100% certainty that you're looking at the delirium. For those of you who are not denizens of the RuneScape, the delirium is equally mysterious as the Cerulean Peaks. It is a storm that moves around against the wind, with the wind, of its own free will. No one knows where it came from, how it came to be, just that it came after the fall. The delirium is a possibly sentient storm that causes madness. Being caught in the storm for a prolonged amount of time can turn you into a raving lunatic or a drooling simpleton. It has been known to cause friends to turn savage and tear each other apart. It has been known to cause prolonged bouts of insanity. The delirium is something to be avoided at all cost. To some, death is preferred to being caught in the delirium. But that's off to the northeast, further away than the town is. But other than that, Mina, no storms that you can see.
Mina thinks to himself that he's unsure whether he's glad that it's the delirium and not his sister or not. But considers that it's probably safer than meeting Raya again and continues on.
Okay.
Mike, question on the delirium.
Yes.
So, because this is something that we would know about having lived here our whole lives,
Correct.
most of our lives, is it something that you would escape from by being indoors?
Correct.
So if you're inside if it comes, you get inside your house, you're okay.
Yep.
Anyone caught outside is in trouble.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. And no one knows why, or what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It is. You should not be caught in the delirium. Is essentially what it is. Okay. Cool. You guys head forward towards Dawn's Fall. Now I get to read this thing I have prepared for you. About your
From
tragic...
episode 1.
No. God, I wish
So
I had that much forethought. From episode 20 something, I started preparing it. As you approach Dawn's Fall, the air grows heavier, laden with an unsettling silence that wraps around you like a shroud. The once vibrant hamlet now lies in desolation, its former beauty marred by devastation and neglect. The path leading to the village is overgrown with weeds and wildflowers claiming the cobblestone, a stark contrast to the scene of ruin that unfolds before you. Crumbling buildings stand as silent sentinels, their walls scorched and crumbling, windows shattered and yawning like empty eyes. The remnants of a village square are strewn with debris, overturned carts, broken tools, and the occasional forgotten toy, each piece telling a story of sudden flight and frantic escape. The most striking feature is the lingering aftermath of a great storm. Trees are uprooted or snapped in half, their branches twisted and gnarled as if grasping for salvation. Pools of stagnant water dot the landscape, reflecting the somber gray of the sky above. The ground itself bears the scars of intense lightning strikes, charred and blackened with deep gouges where torrents of rain carved furrows into the earth. Among the ruins you notice signs of a fierce battle. Rusted weapons and shattered shields lie scattered, mingled with the occasional bone, half buried in the soil. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, and the oppressive silence is punctuated only by the distant cawing of crows and the rustle of leaves in the breeze. At the heart of the village stands the remnants of the Elders' Hall, a once proud structure now reduced to a skeletal frame. Here, the sense of sorrow and loss is almost palpable. You feel the weight of countless eyes upon you, the spirits of those who once called this place home, now lingering in the shadows, bound by the tragedy that befell them. As you delve deeper into the ruins of the town, you come across an unusual sight. A black, crystalline orb, partially buried in the wreckage. Its surface seems to absorb the light, swirling with shadows that dance just beneath the surface. The realization of what occurred here begins to dawn on you. The echoes of fear and despair still linger, and the very air seems to hum with the residual energy of a catastrophic event. Dawn's Fall is not just a village laid to waste. It is a monument to sorrow, a place where the past refuses to rest and the shadows of history loom large. You all stand in the center of a desolate, ruined village. Years of life, childhood memories sort of flicker across your eyes, Korax, as you see the frames, these skeletal bones sticking out of a graveyard, of homes, of people you knew, neighbors you had, friends, the place where you skinned your knee, a place where your sister fell out of a tree. Mina, you didn't live here for long, but you defended this town not too many years ago from an attack. An attack that you kind of feel not unlike whatever claimed it after you left. You look at the remains of the village elder's home, the mayor, as you had called him, and at the back of your mind, maybe a nervous, albeit sinister thought passes through your head that he's not going to harbor anything against you now for what happened to his son. No one will. at that rate. And Terry's, you've never been here. You've never seen the ruins of a village in the light of day. Rarely have you seen a village in the light of day. But the charred remnants of a town that was is familiar to you. You can see it on your companions' faces, and there is a pang of guilt, an awful feeling in your gut. And you know it's not your fault. You had nothing to do with this. You've never been here before. But something tugs deep in your gut. You've done this. Not the first village you've seen this way. Not the second or the third. Never have you had to see the aftermath. And never have you been companion or friend to those who lived there. Seydlitz, you grew up in Samora. You hunted. You've heard horrible tales of the deeps. You've seen some pretty gnarly things in the woods. And a few years ago, you survived an attack on the city. Samora was under assault by the Nefar the day Vishaden showed up and dazzled everyone with his skills as a spellcaster. You can only imagine what Samora would look like if it fell to that siege or the siege at the War of Scale and Bone. To the best of your knowledge, Seydlitz, this looks like a full-scale assault by Nefar. As the four of you stand here in the bones of a town that was, what are you doing?
Borax never stopped his horse. He would have kept riding until he reached his family home. And he stays on top of his horse. He doesn't get off. He looks down at the house. And he looks around at the sky. He looks for any ravens or crows or birds of that ilk that are floating about. He would do any sort of religious, like the sign of the cross, but in this world, when he sees them. As he's looking around, I'm assuming this is when he'll probably see how far the delirium is away from us and that it's not close. He waits a minute, turns, rides back towards the others and just stops and says, well, let me know when you're ready to leave.
Can we tell how long ago this happened?
It's going to be an intellect roll. I will say difficulty 6.
Can Seydlitz help? Give me an asset.
Sure.
He's the tracker man. Oops.
Well, what are we trying to track?
Well, like you're also the nature man, right? So like I want to know like because you also there's like lightning strikes and like burnt trees and stuff.
Yep.
Oh, like I just want to see if we can tell how long the buildings have been in this state. And also, are there any tracks of anyone who may have survived, like escaped? Can we try finding that out?
Sure.
In that case, Mike, even though it's larger than a large room, can I use eye for detail on this?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm going to spend my 2 points and, ask a GM one question that he must answer truthfully. How old are these scorch marks and all this stuff to my eyes?
Less than a year. Somewhere between 6 months and a year.
Awesome.
So any chance of there still being any tracks from any survivors would have been long gone.
Correct.
Yeah. She looks around like she's maybe like circling on her horse, like looking at the ground. And yeah, she's not seeing anything. She probably hears sounds of combat in her mind from like when she would have been doing shit like this. And yeah, she has a memory of the three of them like sacking a town that was harboring some adherents, and they literally sacked the town and then spent a night in the mayor's equivalent house, and then like they like ate all their food and slept in their bed and stuff like that, and then burnt it to the ground afterwards. So like she's just probably thinking like that, so she's not actually seeing anything that she's looking at. What's Mina doing?
Mina, what are you doing?
I think you see just Mina slip from his horse and move towards the town square. And you see him stand in a particular spot, as if you know it's something that's been burnt into his memory, and he just stands there and anyone that looks him in the eyes just sees that he's just weeping. There's just tears rolling down his eyes, and an intense look of guilt. And he avoids looking at Korax.
Mina, when did you leave Dawn's Fall?
I don't know. A year ago, maybe 18 months.
Then, if you believe this is your fault, I don't think so, because the oldest some of these markings are 6 months at best.
Maybe they came back after I fought them off. Maybe they came back for revenge.
If you fight them off as one person, I don't think you would think they'd come back sooner than that. It doesn't take 6 months to do a revenge plot.
Not for Nafar, at least.
I don't know. Rhea said it was my fault. She stayed behind. Maybe I don't know what happened afterwards. Maybe they tried to negotiate. Maybe it was they managed to hold them off for a bit.
Mike, are there skeletons in the area that have look like they've been struck by lightning?
Yeah, I mean, if you dig around, yeah, you can find some charred skeletal remains.
So, and what are Nafar? Just
Nafar are
they're not human, right?
no, they're that's like the catch-all term for like bestial humanoids, right? So like your goblins, your trolls, your orcs, your ogres, your beast monsters, your like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So are these remains like what race are they? Can we tell?
They're all humanoid. You can tell there are some larger ones. So like you do see like there is like the remains of what you can assume to be a troll, or at least like the like a femur of a troll. But it is a mix. There are what is arguably human bones, and also Nefar bones mixed in here.
Hmm.
Let's say this. Say the Nafar did attack 6 months ago. We only know that the God of Storms rose last month?
I don't know how long she's been a god for.
Corax?
I think at this point, Corax is still at his house. He hasn't come back yet.
We'll ask Corax when he's around. But if we know anything about your sister, say obviously we develop our powers before we become gods in a good amount of cases. What if she could control lightning before that and she tried to defend the town? But if you can control lightning, that's very powerful. Either this was a mass wave of Nafar, or there's something a little bit more to this.
And then why would Raya blame me?
You gotta put your blame somewhere.
What are the odds she lost
Whether it's-
control? Let's say there is an attack, since obviously we have the evidence there. What if she lost control during it?
I guess maybe. But I guess ultimately it was my fault that they attacked again. We didn't just give them what they wanted the first time.
Which was what?
I don't know. We were just told to let them take whatever they wanted. But they were threatening to hurt people. So I stopped them.
I still think you made the right choice in stopping them.
I agree.
I think this is probably when Corax arrives back. And he looks to the others. Normally, you let them take what they want. They go away. They might come back next year. But you give them what they want. They go away. It's typically what happens.
And Mina just
I
looks at
guess the
Corax when
far
he
a
says
lot
that.
more simple than humans.
But they were
You
threatening
know
to
what
hurt
they
people.
wanted?
No, the elder told us to just let them take whatever they were looking. If they will take whatever they wanted, I don't know if they were looking for anything. I couldn't understand what they were saying.
But they were still threatening to hurt people.
Yeah. But yeah, Raya and Auntie Tissa told me not to do it. Not to fight them back. And when I killed their leader, they threatened to come back and destroy the town. And I guess they did. I think at this point you see Mina kind of trudges towards where Auntie Tissa lived, looking for any signs of anything.
You know, GM intrusion, Mina, if you're so inclined. The GM intrusion, I'll tell you what it is before you have to accept, or before you get to accept, I should say. You see that there is a small, probably like, I don't know, baseball, softball sized, black orb, that is sat in the ground, in like the rough centerish of the town, as you move around, and you can see as you're walking towards it, there is like there's like almost like a not I wouldn't call it a crater, right? It's like a huge depression, but there is definitely an indentation for like several feet around it in a circle, as if this thing was dropped and it kind of reverberated with energy when it was dropped. But it does not look like it has aged. It looks like a obsidian crystal orb. You see that, and you have a desire to pick it up. That's your intrusion.
I think, yeah, Mina's not in the state of mind to argue, and will just pick it up as if he's picking up the remnants of, the town, not even contemplating what it is, as if he was just picking up a scorched, ball that a kid was playing with or something like that.
Okay. As your fingers brush the cold, smooth surface, a jolt of energy courses through your body. Your vision blurs and the world around you dissolves into darkness. You find yourself standing in the midst of a terrible storm, the wind howling and rain lashing against your skin. You are no longer in the present. Instead, you are a silent observer in the final moments of Dawnsfall. The village is alive with frantic activity. Villagers run to and fro, their faces etched with fear and desperation. The sky above is a roiling mass of dark clouds, illuminated by flashes of light that split the heavens with deafening cracks. You see the Nefar raiders, their eyes burning with malice, descending upon the village. They wield weapons imbued with dark magic, cutting down anyone in their path. Amidst the chaos, you spot a young woman standing defiantly in the village square. You recognize your sister. Her eyes filled with determination and terror. Her powers, raw and untamed, flicker around her, manifesting in arcs of electricity that lash out at the invaders. And then you see it. The object you hold in your hand, now held aloft by what you can only assume to be the leader of these Nefar. A tall, gray-skinned orc, covered in bones, hair shaved on the sides into this mohawk that ends in a ponytail. You see their bone cloak sort of sways against the wind. In one hand is a gnarled staff, a human skull placed atop this thing as he sort of walks with a limp on the right side. Holds this aloft. He invokes some kind of nefarious power. A wave of despair washes over the village. The villagers' faces contort in horror and anguish as their will to fight drains away. This artifact amplifies Rhea's storm, twisting her protective powers into a destructive force beyond her control. The storm intensifies, becoming a maelstrom of wind and lightning. Buildings are torn apart, trees uprooted, and the very ground beneath your feet shakes with the fury of the tempest. Rhea's screams of frustration and sorrow echo through the chaos as she struggles to control the unleashed forces. You see the villagers caught in the storm, their bodies flung like ragdolls, their cries lost in the cacophony. And suddenly the vision shifts. The storm has passed, leaving only devastation in its wake. The village is in ruins, smoke rising from the smoldering remains of homes and lives. The Nefar are gone, their dark deed done. You see Rhea kneeling amidst the wreckage, tears streaming down her face. The weight of her powers and the horror of what has transpired crush her spirit. Realization hits you, Mina. Rhea blames you for not being there, for not protecting your home, your family, these people. Her grief and anger are palpable in this moment, and eventually become a wound that will fester in her heart. As the vision fades, and you are now back in the present, your hand still on this obsidian sphere. The artifact's coldness seeps into your bones, and you feel the lingering echoes of the tragedy it caused. You now fully understand the depth of Rhea's pain and the dark power of the relic you hold. And that is where we end today's episode of The Rise.
God damn it.
Saw that coming. I knew it.
It's not an episode of The Rise if I don't tell Mike to fuck off.
Chris, you're muted, but I feel like you swore at me too. So
Yeah.
I feel like that was a well-deserved cursing out. I'm sorry for everybody. So that's that. I will say, since there is some debate happening in the chat here, you all manifested powers before you ascended. She also manifested powers before she ascended. Like mutants when they turn 13 in X-Men, they all of a sudden start to get willy-nilly with some powers until they fully solidify.
Those mutant hormones.
Yeah. So yeah, those crazy raging god hormones. So the good news is you did see people fleeing. So that's it. That's the good news. That's where that ends. That's the good news. Maybe some people made it out in time. But that is it for episode 39. This one was called In Too Deep. So a solid episode. Can't wait to give Norm a month to figure out his appropriate emotions for what just happened. But at least no one cried today. So, either I get sworn at or I make someone cry. Yeah. So, one of the two. All right, let's go around, do our introductions so we can get out of here and do our after show. Let's start with G. G, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
Hello, I'm G, the friendly neighborhood lightning invoker. You'll find me all things unMadeGaming, Patreon stuff. We have the one-shots coming next weekend. You'll find me in Atari Twilight Age of Always, when that's going to be rescheduled, TBD. You'll find me next Sunday for the next episode of Mundus Novus, which is another Patreon campaign with Melissa. During the week, I'm modding. We have Ask a Lich this coming Monday, so make sure you get your questions in for that. And in the Discord all the time. I'll be there.
Hell yeah. From there, we'll go to Norm. Norm, who are you? Where can we find you? And what are you up to?
I'm Normal Snow. You can find me in this campaign and in the one-shots and sometimes in the Discord.
Perfect. From there, we'll jump over to Matt. Matt, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
I'm Matt or D. You can find me here in the Patreon campaign or the one-shots in Mike's Discord, and I'm basically up to nothing much.
Perfect. I guess that all adds up there. And last but definitely not least, Chris, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
At this table, definitely the least. But I'm Chris, aka Necro. You can find me in the Discord. You can find me in the Patreon one-shots and Atari Twilight Age of Always when we next schedule that.
Yes.
That is all.
Which will be soon, hopefully. Fantastic. That is it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for watching this heartstring pulling episode. I hope you enjoyed us. Let us know what you think is going down in Dawn's Fall and what you think is waiting for them in the holdfasts. But that's it from us. We'll see you guys next time. From all of us to you guys, bye-bye.
Bye.